Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we're able to turn your water into wine. And we are in season 2, and we are at episode 19. Yay! Give myself a round of applause. And basically, my platform is to talk, which means the conversation I wish I had. But, as more and more I talk about finance and financial literacy, I'm finding that a lot of other people didn't get this talk. So I'm motivated actually to bring you fresh and new ideas and concepts. And basically, I am continually learning. I have meant to bring my books in, some of my background books that I've read, and I'll do that on the next show. Today's show, we're talking about technically numbers don't lie. And basically, that's one of my things I always say, numbers don't lie. And we're going to talk about the 4 different types of people that enter and exit your life. And I call them either multipliers or additioners, dividers, or subtractors. And what I mean by numbers don't lie is basically, statistics can be used to tell the story of whoever is, telling the story. One of my favorite African proverbs states that until the lions tell his story, the hunter will always be the superstar of the story. He would always do that. So whether you are a lion or you're the hunter, it all depends on which side of the story that you are telling. And one of the things that I do know, liars uses numbers. Figures don't lie, but liars use the figures. And one of the things that we have to be on guard with is always make sure we are staying in tune to, how things are presented to us. So you might ask, what's my point? I'm glad you asked. Daily, we are bombarded with constant social media from all the platforms, whether, from TikTok to Instagram to Facebook to, I'm quite sure there's some things out there that I'm not even aware of. And one of the things that I know for sure is our teenagers are always staying ahead of what we know. I remember probably 10 years ago, there was no adults on Facebook. And now that's all you see. And I know our teens are moved to another platform. I'm doing an investigation to see what platform they're using, because we need to know, we need to have that platform. And my producer said Instagram and TikTok, but we are on that too. So as soon as we move on that, as quote, quote, dinosaurs and old people, they move on to something else. So we got to be constantly being aware of that information. We need to know our numbers. And one of the things that health-wise, we need to know our blood pressure. We need to know our cholesterol numbers. We need to know our weight, and we need to know how many calories we should be intaking. And basically, every 6 months, we're supposed to change our passwords. So we need to change our username and passwords and all that kind of stuff. So we need to understand the numbers because they don't lie, especially financially. And basically, that's my platform. You need to know what your credit score is. I can't overemphasize that. You definitely have to understand your income to your expense ratio, because that's where your cash flow is. And the best way to actually do that is basically have a formula and plan and write it down. I know you can use your phone. I know there's certain apps that you can use. I know you can type it out, etc. But I think if you actually use that pen and paper, you will actually get that transfer of knowledge that would actually stick with you more. It's almost the difference between using cash and using a credit card. We understand that you got money in the bank, but there's a difference when you spend that $100 and you get that change back, opposed to using that credit card and all you're getting is that receipt. So you also need to understand what is your debt to income ratio, because basically that's what creditors look at. They look at your debt to income ratio, and not necessarily that you can't get that Mercedes or that BMW or that Jag. It might cost you more to get that. And that's one of the things that, you got to be careful of. You have to understand what your credit card payment cycle is, because basically in order to actually to minimize some of the interest, you make sure you pay prior to that date. And if you make a half a payment after that date, you can actually accelerate that payment. And of course, your mortgage or your rent payment. And the best way that I know to actually to solve all that, to make sure you're doing time ahead of the time, is put all that stuff on auto pay. And basically that will be probably the greatest solution that you can have. Now let's talk about the 4 people that normally is in your life. You're going to have people who multiply what you're doing. You got people who add to what you're doing. And then on the flip side, you can have people who divide your time, pretty much waste it, or subtract it and totally, annihilate your time. And basically, your finances is the same thing, because it's the choices and decisions that you make that will add to your, multiply and add to your assets, or if they divide and subtract, which leads you into liabilities. There are some things that I want to talk about that actually, I'm going to talk about things that add and multiply to your life. And then I'm going to talk about things that divide and subtract. First of all, number 1, your health is your wealth. Point blank. End of story. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all the access to all the things that you think that you would desire in this life. But if you don't have your health, life is not worth living. You're not enjoying the things of life, like the beautiful sunset on the beach, or just walk into the forest and just feel the breeze, the crisp of a spring or a winter day, or just your health increase the passion that you have for whatever craft that you decide that you want to master. Those are the things that, help you work at it longer, basically make you a higher achiever. And basically what you are higher achiever would naturally evolve into a higher earning. And the thing about it, you need to analyze the people, take the time to see who are the people that make you better. Who is your spiritual advisor? Somebody who actually, and in some circles, they call that prayer partners or intercessors, who are actually, basically who are people who might even pray for you or read you a scripture, or in tune to actually, what actually makes you tick. You need to identify those people, because those are people who multiply your time in your life. And also, who are the people who stimulate you mentally? You need somebody who actually, say, hey, have you seen this new investment thing? One of the things that I got a friend of mine who told me about this airline that will their goal is to be anywhere in the world within 4.5 hours. I mean that you can leave from, let's say, from JFK, New York, to go to Sydney, Australia in 4.5 hours. And basically, he told me what this airline that's what they're working on within the next 10 years. That stimulated my curiosity mentally. And you have those people also who are the people who see that, hey, you're getting a little soft around the middle. Let's go and walk, before we go to work. Let's do that 1 mile, that 5 miles. Let's go start getting up working together. Basically, let's start doing some calisthenics. And if you're really aggressive, you say, hey, let's go in the gym that we can actually do that, high intensity type workout. Or if you really want to get into it, let's start lifting some weights and stuff. You need that person in your life who actually see what the good in you and basically to make you better. Those are the people that you need to look at for. And vice versa. If you have like your spouse or a friend or a mentor, not only that you are receiving from them, you should be able to get with them and help them and motivate them. And one of the things that, and speaking of that person, there you have to have a person in your life that no subject is off limits. And what I mean by that is basically, when you get in your workspace, they say you shouldn't talk about sex, politics, or religion. Well, you need a person in your life that basically you could talk about sex with. You need a person in your life that basically you can actually that you can agree to disagree, even with those three subjects, especially politics, that basically you can disagree without being disagreeable. Basically you can share your ideas and your concept with that, and basically, they'll tell you reason why they're taking this stance, and you can explain why you see it maybe differently. And the same with religion. And that's one of the things that those three things are taboo, but you need somebody in your life that basically can speak to that. And the second valuable thing besides your health is your time. We all have 365 days, 7 days a week, and we have 1,440 minutes in one day. That's 1,440 minutes in a day. Were your 1,440 minutes productive today? Only you can actually answer that. And one of my goals is that I try to be as most productive as I can in each day. And my most productive days is when I extend myself to help somebody else. And that can be just as small as opening a door or helping somebody. When I went to Lowe's, I saw this lady. She had this big bag of rocks that she was getting ready to do her garden with. And I asked her, could I help her put that in her vehicle? And that's one thing that I've known basically now. I ask, especially women, if they need help. Would you like me to do this? And I found out that's probably the best way to actually to deal and handle that, because some people want to do it themselves, and that's okay. But your time is one of your most valuable assets, and time waits for no one. You can't spend it, you can waste it, but that's what you have. One of my favorite poems, it came from one of Dr. Benjamin Mays, and he was the mentor that talked to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was really deciding that basically he was wanting to be an attorney. And Dr. Mays is the one that convinced him that he would probably get more out of life as being a minister than he would be an attorney. And basically his poem says, I only have a minute. It's only just a minute, 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny minute, but eternity is in it. And within that minute, we can change the world. Just think about it. We do not have time to waste. As I mature and get older, I'm finding that time is moving faster and faster and faster. And that's one of the things that we have to keep in mind is basically, health is your wealth and time waits for no one. So we're going to take a little short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the 4 different types of people, and technically money don't lie. Welcome back to the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show. And I am excited. And we're talking about, numbers don't lie. Well, technically, money don't lie. I mean, numbers don't lie. Is that basically liars use numbers and figures don't lie, but liars use figures to make them say what you want to say. And I just want to add this tidbit. Basically, I was born in the urban area of Cleveland, Ohio. Statistically, that's all it being produced even today will say that I wouldn't be here doing this show, which means that basically there are people in this world who statistically has written off every black man. And I know the challenge of doing that. And that's one reason I'm doing my show is basically I really know that basically when you don't have a plan to look forward to, then you'll allow other things to actually contribute to your downfall. So we're gonna take it back up to the 4 different types of people: the people who multiply and add to your life, and people who are dividers and subtract from your life. And basically, I want to add to the friend. I heard this story about this young lady who said how she started her catering business. She said basically she had a friend that knew that she could cook and knew that one of her goals was to start her business. And basically this person asked her to do it, and she shied away from doing it because she really didn't tell the person basically, I really don't have the money to buy all the things that I needed. The girl said, no, I want you to do it. Tell me what you need. So basically this person went out and purchased all the things that this young lady needed. So basically she was able to do her wedding and reception, all the chafing dishes and all the decoration that, well, I don't know all the items. I've been to a lot of receptions and I see the items, but, the people are in the business, they know. And basically some of those things are not cheap. So at the end of this thing, had a fabulous time. This person who was getting married said, I'm gifting you all these items so you can start your business. I thought that was probably the most, I'm about to tear up right now, just rehearsing the story that she told me. Because see, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get in a bigger room. And oftentimes we are intimidated by people who have more knowledge or maybe have more resources than we do. And the thing about it is that if we are true to ourselves and true to our craft, those people will find us and help support us. And the thing about it is that we need people in our life who will challenge us, encourage us, support us, as well as correct us. But the main thing, and one of the things that I am growing to do, is actually sponsor people. This young lady actually helped this lady create. I was about to tell the story, but I'll go ahead and tell her. Her business is called the Tasting Spoon, and she's located in the 757 in the Hampton Roads area. And I would love to get her on the show one day so she can actually tell her own story. But just hearing that story motivated me to actually help sponsor somebody. I got a friend of mine in I think he's in Mississippi, and he just came out with a single on I'm quite sure it's on all the Spotify and all the other media. And I told him basically, I don't download music like that because normally I get my stuff the old way, CDs and all that kind of stuff. But what I told him, that send me your Cash App, and basically I will support you that way. So I'm finding a way to actually support this individual, basically in 5 states away. And we have to have friends or people that we know that we can actually not only be mentors to, but also sponsors to. And the thing about friends and associates is that you can cross-pollinate ideas. I try to get friends or associates outside of the genre of what I normally do. Basically, I have a military and law enforcement background, but I love to talk to people who are in, the medical profession. Even though I gravitate to attorneys because basically I've written some briefs and did some background and information, and basically I have done everything except read for the bar. But I like investigating, as you can tell by my title of my show. So I never really pursued actually being an attorney. But the whole idea is that I get ideas from, and I'm a real estate professional, so I like business. So anytime, all those things kind of, to me, are one and the same, for the simple fact that basically any craft that you have is a business. And basically, I shared this a long time ago, is that basically you are the CEO of you. Whether you are successful or you fail, it's up to you. The same thing for marketing, administration, production, and finance. That's what you do. Every time you do your resume, every time you fill out an application, that's your marketing. You are your personnel. When you show up on time and you show people basically that you show up early, and then you work to past the time that is expected, and basically you are benefiting the organization that you work for, or you actually creating your own empire. The same thing that takes Ford or General Motors or Microsoft to work, you have to do that individually. So basically, in order to actually do that, is actually expand your reach, or talking to different people who, not only, find mentors that are in the same area that you would like to aspire to, but you need to find somebody outside of what you're doing. Talk to somebody who's in the ministry, as well as talk to somebody who's, educators. I like to talk to educators, of course, like, military and law enforcement, that's too easy for me. So I actually like to focus and talk to other people and other things. One of the things that the reason why I'm here is because I'm one, I call my, the founder, Cammie Grayson, of this whole podcast platform. I told her I wanted to be the oldest intern. And I walked through the door and not knowing any technical thing about being a podcaster. But she has trained me. She has mentored me into, where I am right now. So if I mess up, it's all her fault. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But she's been a great mentor for me. So you need to find somebody who's doing what you would like to do in a very professional way. And basically, she is very professional. And I thank God for her. Now, identify the mentors where you want to be. One of the things that we cannot get hung up on, and I love my friends from college. I love my friends from the military. I love my friends and I was a special agent with the FBI. But those are the people from my past. I am looking for people who are in my future. And that's the reason why I'm here, because podcasting is one of the things that I wanted to do. Didn't know how I was going to be able to do it. 3 years ago, didn't have a clue that I would be here today. So don't hang on to people in your past. You need to find people in your future, because the future is what you're going to keep you alive. So find people and mentors who actually are the people who are going to keep you alive. And if you can't find nobody, there are books that are, there are books, it's probably 1,000 books that were published today. There has to be a subject that you're interested in that's being published. If it hasn't been published before, you need to refresh and look for it again. I'm quite sure. I'm from brain surgery to auto mechanics to whatever you have in your mind. You might want to be a podcaster, which means an SKST radio. And you could actually come down here. We could teach you how to do the podcasting. But my point is that There are leaders or readers. I never met a person who was a leader that was not a reader. So there are platforms that you can actually take advantage of. I've talked about the people who add to your life and multiply your life. Now I'm going to take a few minutes, my last couple of minutes, to talk about the subtractors and the dividers. When I was on the job, there were people who, I don't know what they camp out by the water cooler, in the kitchen, by the coffee pot. That actually you go in there just to get a cup of coffee or get your lunch, and 30 minutes later you're walking out because they catching you up on the latest gossip or the latest news, who doing what to who, or all this kind of what direction the business is going into, and all this other stuff that they don't talk about in the meeting, but they suck up all your time. One of the things I've stopped doing is having conversations that don't go nowhere. Now, I'm a big sports fan, and I don't get sucked up into the dialogue too much, because you imagine that most people, they let's say the Dallas Cowboy fan, they can give you all the statistics of all these guys like Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman, but if I ask them what their credit score is, they haven't even found out what the credit score is. They don't even know what their debt to income ratio is. People don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. And hopefully this platform would give you some framework so you can start planning. One of the scriptures that I remember is Hosea 4th chapter in the 6th verse said, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And basically, here's the basic knowledge, basically, that could either divide you or subtract. If you don't have a plan for your income and your expenses, you have to understand where your money going. What is your assets and what is your liabilities? Your credit score, your credit utilization. And I mentioned this before, your debt to income ratio. What is an authorized user? Do you know what OPM, as I said, it stands for other people's money, but how would that be effective, and how does that work for you? Investments, everybody want to talk about 401k and IRAs, but what does that really mean to you? And what does that mean to you now? And what does that mean to you when you get ready to retire? I talked about that in a couple of shows back, so you need to go back and see what I said about that. And investments and real estate and insurance. And I want to leave you with this. Everybody want to ball, everybody want to be a millionaire, everybody want to do this, and everybody want to do that. But until you have multiple income streams, not just the job that you're working, you have to have some multiple income stream. And basically, right now, I'm using real estate involved in that. And I already told you about some things that I'm investing in, besides investing in people. So technically, money don't lie. I mean, technically, numbers don't lie. There's 4 types of people: people who multiply, people who divide, people who add to, and people that subtract from your life. And you need to identify who those people are in order for you to be successful and for you to really enjoy life. Your health is your wealth. And how do you spend your time, and who's the people you're associating with are the people who multiply, add, divide, or subtract on your life. My time is up, and I thank you for yours. Peace.